Hey everyone, thank you so much for watching today's video. I wanted to revisit a topic that seems to resonate really well with you. I've done a couple of videos like this on my channel, and I wanted to talk about 15 different things or services that I no longer purchase. I don't know about you, but I feel like I'm constantly reevaluating what I bring into my life. Extra things and clutter and just spending my money on things that I know I don't need. It really stresses me out in the end. So I think as I get older, I just tend to be a little bit more intentional about what I purchase, where I spend my money, and whether or not those things or services really add to my life in a way that's beneficial. I hope you enjoyed today's video and this topic. I would love to know if there are any things or services you no longer purchase that you used to feel like were absolute necessities and now you feel better without them, or just lighter or more free. Let me know in the comments below. So the first one for me is backups, and this can be anything. This could be makeup, it could be food, it could be cleaning supplies, clothing. There are some exceptions to this rule. Let me just throw this out there. As with all of these categories, like sometimes there is an exception to the rule. I'm not saying I'll never ever buy any of these things ever again, but I typically have tried to cut down on buying backups and multiple backups of certain things. And there are a few reasons for that. First of all, my preferences change all the time. So in the moment, I might feel like that is my absolute favorite foundation in the entire world, or that is my go-to cleanser for the kitchen, or whatever it is. And, it's interesting because I feel like every time I say, like, I'll never be able to find a replacement for this, I love it more than anything, something else tops it. And it's happened to me before where I had like 3 or 4 backups of something, and then I no longer really enjoyed it. So I would force myself to use it up, or maybe eventually I would pass it along, but I already spent my money on those things. Again, obviously, that doesn't apply to every single category. And there are things that are nice to stock up on, like diapers, if there's a big sale and you're going to purchase them anyway. But as like a general rule of thumb, I try not to buy too many backups. So for number 2, I'm curious to know what you think about this one. I feel like a lot of you might disagree with me on this one. The holiday makeup sets and beauty sets are here. I think one of the really popular sets that I have resolved not to buy this year would be the perfume sampler sets. Don't get me wrong, sometimes I think these can be a really good deal when it comes to value, because they'll include like a bunch of deluxe size samples. So you get the chance to wear these perfumes multiple times. And then sometimes there is a voucher that you can bring into store and actually redeem for a full size fragrance, which makes it kind of worth it for a lot of people, because the money you're putting toward the kit will actually go toward the perfume as well. And I don't think that's a terrible idea by any means. I've actually purchased these in the past. The reason why I'm not buying one this year is because typically when it comes to those kits, there are a few scents within the kit that I don't end up loving. I don't know why this is like a new revelation for me, but I guess I never really browsed through the scents in person. But it's convenient that you can just go into store, try the fragrance on, walk around for a little while and see if you like it. And usually that's enough for me. Like, I don't have to test a fragrance multiple days to decide if it's something I really love. And I do like having like a little bit of a variety when it comes to my scents, but I'm not someone who has like an intense full-on perfume collection. So that just comes down to personal preference, but I've decided to no longer buy those perfume sampler sets. I'd rather just save my money and put it like directly toward one specific fragrance. Okay, number 3 for me would be at-home workout equipment. I have tried so many times to be the type of person who is able to work out at home and just like nail down like a good morning routine where I can work out at home and then get straight to work, because I do work from home. But what I've come to learn about myself, and I feel like this is something I knew a few years ago, I am the type of person that has to have the accountability of showing up at a workout class specifically. Like, I can't even just go to the gym and like do my own thing. I need my name to be on a list. I need someone to be expecting me, and I need to have paid for it ahead of time, and I'll get there, like no matter what. I first learned this about myself years ago, because back in like 2017 or maybe 2018, I can't remember because all the years run together, I listened to a title on Audible called The 4 Tendencies, and it really taught me that I need that outer accountability. So I signed up to work with a personal trainer in like kind of a small group setting, and it worked so well for me. The accountability is exactly what I needed. Obviously, with lockdown in 2020, it was no longer a possibility to actually go in person at that time and do what I was doing. So I bought a lot of workout equipment, not a lot, but I bought some workout equipment like a bike, a treadmill, and I would do it for a little while and then I would fall off for a long time. And then I would do it for a little while and then I would completely quit. And then I became a mom and life was just so hectic. And for like a few years there. And I wasn't able to fully stick to like a good workout routine, no matter how hard I tried at home. Back in the spring, I was like, okay, that's it. I made the commitment to start working out with like a trainer in a small group setting again. I'm able to get up and just be there in the mornings when I sign up to go because they know I'm coming. I don't want them to show up and me not be there. You just have to know what works well for you. Maybe you are a fan of working out at home, so maybe cancel that outside gym membership and just kind of put your either your money or your time into sticking with what works for you at home. Number 4 would be magazines. This is something that I resolved not to buy a few years ago, but it comes up every single time I fly. First of all, the last time I bought a magazine a few years ago, it was full of ads. Like over half of the magazine was just like pages of ads. So you buy it expecting to be like entertained or read some interesting articles, and those might be in there, but you have to really flip to get to them. Second of all, a magazine to me is just like a little bit wasteful because you read it once and then you're done with it. Very rarely do I end up going back to it over and over again. And if you're traveling and flying, it's just like something extra that you have to carry with you. Also, traveling with a toddler is a whole different experience in general. We just flew with him a couple of months ago, and actually, he was really great at flying and he's really great in the car too. But I like to be like hands free. I don't want to be carrying like a magazine, holding on to it. Like anything that I have with me has to be able to be like worn on me, like a backpack or a crossbody bag, because I just like to have my hands free to either like grab him or keep him entertained. My husband and my toddler and I actually just went on like a really long road trip. We came from like the Northeast to Florida, and that was almost easier than flying because there wasn't like a ton of chasing involved. We stopped every few hours. It was actually kind of relaxing. And it almost reminded me of like the days before children when we were traveling because we were able to either like sleep if we weren't driving or, listen to a podcast or an audiobook. Which brings me to today's video sponsor, which is Audible. So thank you so much to Audible for sponsoring today's video and working with me here on my channel. Audible is the best. I've been a member since 2018. It is something that I've talked about so much over the years and just something that I use every single day. The Audible app just makes it easy to listen no matter what time of the day. Like whether you're traveling or you're at home doing your daily routine, I always listen in the morning when I am getting ready and doing my makeup, when I'm cleaning, when I'm editing at my computer, when I'm even just trying to unwind at night. So on our road trip, we actually made it through a couple of different titles and there were so many good ones, but I think the one that resonated with both of us the most, like the one that we were thinking about and talking about afterwards, was 4,000 Weeks by Oliver Burkeman. The author speaks to that overwhelming feeling that all of us can relate to and feeling like we don't have enough time to get everything done. And I think for me, like, especially since becoming a mom, it's almost turned from feeling like overwhelmed to almost this like honestly immense pressure. And I feel like anxiety and stress and guilt around the fact that I can't fit everything in. And I've just had a hard time balancing everything, especially over the last few years. The reason why I enjoyed this so much is because it kind of helped me shift my perspective on time management in general. And it almost gave me like the permission to let go of some of like that crushing stress regarding getting everything done. So I highly recommend it no matter what stage of life you're in. I think a lot of us can relate to the topic. As an Audible member, you can choose one title a month to keep from their entire catalog, including bestsellers and the latest new releases. They have an amazing selection of audiobooks across all genres, including motivation, wellness, celebrity memoirs, parenting. If you're into like mysteries and thrillers, they literally have something for everyone. Audible members also get full access to a growing selection of included audiobooks, Audible originals, and podcasts. They also have some new formats like their newer Words and Music series, which is really cool. New members can get a free trial of Audible, which is amazing. So definitely try it if you haven't already. You can go to audible.com/AndreaM or text Andrea M to 500 to try Audible free for 30 days. Thanks again to Audible for sponsoring today's video. Number 5 would be lash extensions. When I got lash extensions done, I really enjoyed them. I thought they looked so pretty. And there are times where I've thought about getting them done again. It is so nice to wake up with really beautiful lashes. And I feel like now in 2023, as like more minimal makeup and more minimal eye makeup is really in style, having lash extensions would be amazing. I decided to stop getting them for a few reasons. First of all, they definitely damaged my natural lashes. And I didn't realize at the time because I was constantly getting new ones put on. So I couldn't completely see the damage until they were fully removed. And then I noticed my natural lashes they looked so, so bad. Like I was missing a ton of them. They were really weak, super brittle, and it took a long time for them to get back to more of a healthy place. So I'm just not ready to go through that entire process again. Second of all, it takes a lot of time to like go to your appointment and sit there and get them done. You have to lay there, you can't do anything, which to be honest is kind of nice because you can just like fully unplug. But I think just the thought of like adding another reoccurring appointment to my schedule just doesn't appeal to me right now. There is, of course, the cost. Lash extensions are not cheap. I haven't looked into the prices in a long time, but I'm sure they're a lot more expensive than they used to be when I got them a few years ago. And honestly, false lashes have just come such a long way. Now, so many brands make like very easy to apply lashes that you can do at home in a few seconds that give you the look of lash extensions. So that is why I no longer do lash extensions. I've been tempted on occasion, but it's just something I've resolved not to get done right now. Number 6 would be massages. Now, I was not someone who ever got massages done super regularly, maybe once a year. I mean, maybe twice a year if there was like a special occasion or we were on vacation and there was the opportunity to get it done. But what I've realized is like I always told myself like I'm going to treat myself to a massage. My husband actually got me a gift card to like a local spa for Mother's Day last year, and I never used it on a massage. I actually used it to get my hair cut. And he was like, "Why don't you use it for like a relaxing massage or a spa treatment?" And honestly, I just don't think I really enjoy massages. I feel like the entire experience is uncomfortable. Like I don't love laying on the massage table. I feel like I can never get comfortable. Second of all, like the person giving the massage always uses such intense pressure no matter what. And I don't know if I'm just kind of like sensitive, but I feel like even if I ask them to use lighter pressure, it's still not the most comfortable thing. I personally don't find it to be super relaxing, which when I was talking to my mom, she was like, "Oh, like I don't find it to be relaxing either, but I find that it feels good afterwards." But I noticed even afterwards, like my body never felt great. So when it comes to like any sort of spa service, I'd much rather go and just get like either a pedicure or maybe a facial, because if I'm getting a facial, I feel like that is actually relaxing because typically they're a lot more gentle when it comes to your face. And then you also get the benefits of having like glowy skin or hydrated, smooth skin. So for me, I'm just gonna opt out of massages. And if it comes to any sort of treatment, I'll stick with like a facial. Okay, number 7 is so random, but sparkling water. I actually read that as a comment on a previous video when I was reading through the comments after filming a video like this. And I was like, that do I like sparkling water or do I just drink it? And I realized that I'm personally just not a big fan of sparkling water, but for years I tried to get into it. I think there was a time where it was like so popular and everyone was talking about like different brands and different flavors. And no matter what I try, like I never love it ever. I mean, I'll drink it, but it's never my favorite. I just decided to stop buying it because what happened is I would go through the aisle at the grocery store, like out of habit, and just like pick a new one to try, hoping I would love it. And I never really found it super satisfying. So I just decided to help myself out and just no longer buy it because I wasn't really loving it. Okay, let's talk about some makeup. So number 8 is waterproof mascara. I've never really purchased like a ton of waterproof mascara, but usually every summer I would buy one and then I would use it for like June, July, and August if we were at the beach or we were going to the pool or it was super hot out and I wanted to make sure like if I was wearing mascara, it didn't move. I discovered tubing mascaras, and tubing mascaras are the best. They have come such a long way. I think in the past when I've tried tubing mascaras, like they never looked great on me. And now so many brands have them. A tubing mascara basically stays in place like a waterproof mascara, but it's easy to remove at the end of the night. It actually just slides right off, which is so strange. I don't know exactly how it works because you would think a mascara that removes easily wouldn't last very well, but typically they do last really, really well. Tubing mascara has changed the game for me. I pretty much only wear tubing mascara on my lower lashes. I never really dealt with like a ton of smudging, but I wouldn't want to take the extra step of applying a waterproof mascara because they are really hard to remove. But I swear by tubing mascaras, I think they are so convenient if you deal with smudging or watery eyes, or you like the idea of like a true budge proof mascara, but you don't want to go with waterproof, try a tubing formula. Number 9 would be glittery highlighters. I still love highlighter. Like, don't get me wrong. I know a lot of people are kind of over highlighter or they like something super subtle. I definitely appreciate a good subtle highlighter, but if I do go for more of an intense highlight, I usually don't want something with a lot of glitter in it. I prefer more of like a wet looking sheen, and highlighter formulas, again, have come such a long way. So you can obviously opt for like a good liquid highlighter, a good powder highlighter, no matter what type of like texture I go for. I definitely want something that's not full of glitter and just gives you more of like that smooth glass-like sheen. Number 10 is something that I'm more so resolving not to buy moving forward, and that would be liquid eyeshadow. I feel like I have a couple of staple formulas I enjoy, but at this point, when a brand launches a liquid eyeshadow, it almost feels and applies just like something I already have. Like there aren't enough differences when it comes to liquid eyeshadow that I feel like I need to run out and buy multiple different products or try the newest launches. I was scrolling through new releases the other day and I saw like a drugstore one. I was like, oh, I should try that and review it. And then I was like, I really don't need to. There are so many other alternatives I already have in my collection, and it's just not something I reach for a ton. If I want more of like a one and done eyeshadow, I typically reach for either like a ColourPop Super Shock shadow or even like a potted cream shadow more, or an eyeshadow crayon more than an actual liquid shadow. I feel like liquid shadow ends up creasing on me. It never looks as good on the eyes as it does in the actual tube. And I've just kind of been let down by liquid shadow as a whole over the last few months. I think I've tried a few formulas and I was like, I just don't think I'm really going to buy them anymore. I've talked about some different like baby and toddler things in the past, and I have another one to share with you. Number 11 would be a large amount of toddler shoes. I didn't really buy my toddler a ton of shoes when he was like a little baby because he was born in the fall and we were inside. And I feel like every time we went out, I just put like socks on him, or he had like a one piece outfit on, or he had like these little warm boots he always wore. Once he was a toddler, I was like, there are so many cute shoes. And I just feel like he kind of wears like more basic outfits, but he might have cool sneakers. His feet didn't really grow quickly for a long time. So like the shoes he wore when he was like 6 months were the shoes that still fit him like a year later. They were probably a little big on him when he was little, but he wasn't really walking a ton in them. And anyway, I was like, okay, so shoes do last a long time. No, 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 no. Like all of a sudden his feet started growing. He's grown through like a little bit of a growth spurt and like he's about to outgrow all of his shoes. And I will say my sister has purchased him a lot of cute shoes. We didn't necessarily just like run out and buy a ton, but that kind of got me thinking, like I've always heard from parents that kids' feet do grow pretty quickly and they won't necessarily be like in the same size shoe for a long time. So now that I really noticed that and I've like experienced it firsthand, I will not be running out and buying like a ton of different shoes because he just won't be able to wear them very long. The next one is random furniture. Maybe I should say like space filling furniture, like impulse furniture. We moved into our house about a year and a half ago, and it's not a massive house by any means, but it is bigger than the house we were living in. So when we moved all of our furniture in, I was like, oh my gosh, there's so much like blank space. There's a lot of stuff we need. I'm like, we have to get end tables, we have to get nights, like we have to get all this stuff. And I just kind of took a step back because I was like, first of all, that's really expensive. And second of all, like it's okay to have like blank space. It's okay not to have a side table there. Just because you would typically think there should be a side table there doesn't mean there actually has to be. I feel like it's been better to just kind of like take my time, and if I see something I feel like will fit perfectly, that's a great price that will last, then I'll buy it. Okay, number 13 would be like the newest upgrade when it comes to my phone, my computer, my iPad. I had fallen into a trap for a while where every time there was like a new iPhone launch, I felt like I had to have it. And honestly, like every time I do upgrade my phone, I'm like, there really isn't a big difference between this one and the one I previously had. So I haven't purchased a new iPad in years. My laptop, I actually just realized is like 4 or 5 years old. It still works great. So it's just something that I've really cut back on as a whole because electronics are so expensive. And if my current version is working great, I don't necessarily need to run out and upgrade just because I feel like I should. Number 14 would be food delivery. I'm not talking takeout. That is definitely an area where we could cut down, and we have cut down a lot. But I'm not talking like ordering from a restaurant and picking it up. I'm talking like the third party food delivery apps where you like order Starbucks and then Uber Eats actually like gets it for you and brings it to your door. Why are the fees so expensive on there? It's not even just like the actual delivery fee and tipping the driver, which those add up too. But when you're ordering through those apps, like a lot of the times they actually charge more per item. And then there's like all kinds of random surcharges. When our son was first born, we were using those apps so much. And I don't even want to know how much money we spent on those. We were like, we're new parents, we're tired, we don't want to cook, and we don't even want to leave the house to go pick up food. So I mean, I feel like that's just you're in such a sleep deprived state. Like whatever you can do to make life easier, you do it. But now that we are no longer in that state, we just can't even justify it any longer. It's different if there's like a local restaurant and they deliver the food, but even then we usually just go pick it up because everything's close by, it's right down the road. I just feel like we've saved so much money by cutting out those apps. And now when we're out of town, like because we used to use them when we were out of town if we didn't know the area, I'm like, no, let's just go pick it up. It'll take 2 minutes and we'll save a lot of money. I will say, I know those apps come in handy for people who can't necessarily leave the house, or, maybe there's a reason in your life why you want to use that. There are people who drive for those apps and that is their income. So there's nothing wrong with using them. I just think you can fall into a trap where you use them all the time and maybe you don't necessarily need to. So that is the reason why I myself really try not to use them, because I feel like I was just using them all the time when I personally could just actually leave the house and go get the food. Okay, number 15 is kind of random, but welcome mats. I don't know if you guys fall into this as well, but I would buy a new welcome mat like every season. Like I had to buy a cute one for fall and then a fun one for winter and then a new one in the spring. And I didn't even realize that until I didn't buy one for like an entire year. And my husband and I came home every single day to like a nice Christmas welcome mat. Again, I feel like when I became a parent, like there were just a lot of things that fell off my priority list. And apparently, changing the welcome mat in front of my house was one of those. But the Christmas one was in great shape. It was not faded, it worked perfectly well. So I never replaced it. And the other day I was looking at it and I was like, well, it's almost time to put this one back out again. So I think when I do replace that, maybe at the end of this winter season, I'll choose one that's like a little more timeless. I think a welcome mat is nice to obviously like clean or dry your shoes before you go in the house, but I don't think that I really needed to buy a new one every single season. Okay, that is everything I wanted to share with you in today's video. Thank you so much for watching. I really appreciate you being here. I've had fun sitting down with you and talking about this topic. Let me know in the comment section below what you think and if there's anything that you have kind of cut out and you found that you haven't really missed it, or if there's anything that you've replaced and you found a better alternative for as well. Thanks again to Audible for sponsoring today's video. Don't forget you can go to audible.com/AndreaM or text Andrea M to 500 to try Audible free for 30 days. Thanks again for watching and I'll see you very soon with a new video. Bye.